Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Sanderlanche podcast. My name is Joe, and with me, as always, is
Dak.
Data?
And Jamie.
Yes, and today we are talking about Mistborn: Secret History, Part 2, The Well, wherein Kelsier is trapped in the well. It's very sad. A super sexy, awesome drifter dude moves in, slaps Kelsier around a little bit, takes some allomancy nugget power, and heads out. Kelsier bemoans his station about how he's imprisoned. Gets to know Ruin a little bit. A little too much, probably. And then he watches and then stabs his surrogate daughter's boyfriend in the chest. Or I guess husband at that point. And then he's released from the well with Ruin. So that's where we are this week. Hold on to something, everybody. The Sanderlanche is about to begin.
Push the kinetics, a troubled spirit breaking through, a bitter debt to repay now. But don't you dread it, a friend would never lie to you, helping you get through the pain now. And when everything is upside down, when you're yelling but you make no sound, life is gonna spin you round. Whoa, and get a little bit stranger when everything is upside down. A tremor in the underground. The nights are gonna take this town. Whoa, and get a little bit stranger.
Good to know the drifter's so sexy, yeah.
Yeah, sexy drifter. No, he just had that vibe, you know? He's like, I'm cool. I'm the drifter. He's not like the drifter in Destiny 2 who's all like, are you guys ready to rumble? He's not that drifter. He's better.
Every time I hear Drifter, I just think of Rat Race, and I'm like, oh god, is it Rowan Atkinson?
He's got narcolepsy.
he takes the lorazepam. He's like, I'm weaning.
Isa Reis.
Carbohydrate is important.
Is important.
Pasta
is
is good.
This just changes everything about what we read.
I like to picture like most of the listeners are probably just like, who the fuck spared a thought for that movie in 20 years?
That's a great film. I still watch that one.
I
Yeah.
love that one. It is a family favorite for sure.
Yeah, I never liked Mr. Bean, so that's like my Rowan Atkinson
Moment.
go-to is Rat Race.
Yeah, I wanted to watch Blackadder. I've heard it's really funny, but
All the bits I've seen of Blackadder are really good, but I haven't been motivated to sit down and watch it start to end. So
right.
It is great just to turn on randomly, because like most of the episodes are unconnected anyway, so you just like pop it on at one point. It's like, I have no context for this, but it's funny as hell.
Yeah.
Also, pre-House Hugh Laurie is just a stitch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like House was the first thing I saw with Hugh Laurie, so it was so different to go back and like watch some Fry and Laurie or something and be like,
Yeah.
This is a very different person from what I'm used to seeing. Okay, so yeah, I think it's funny because you guys, I think it was Joe who, after I revealed, I was like, actually, the Lord Ruler left 2 nuggets at the well, and he's like, why'd you tell us that? And the answer is because it didn't really affect the story in any way until you found out for yourself. Like, I didn't feel like it was spoiling anything.
Here's that Uno reverse card. It's like, actually, it involved everything.
Yeah, I mean, my mind went in pre-blown. Thanks for that.
Sure, yeah, right. So, yeah, what did you guys think of these 4 chapters?
It was funny to me because I threw out the prediction last time that, you know, the next part was just going to be the second book because the first part was the first book. And I was right. That was a little surprising.
Pretty much.
Makes sense since it's called The Well, you know, and that's the title of the second book. But I kind of felt weird about how right I was about some of that stuff. And also, I guess, really the most interesting part to me was this sexy drifter guy. Like, I want to know more about him. Because clearly he's the best. And he has, like, I almost thought, is this a Lendy? Because they say he has, like, you know, stark white hair and stuff. But I was like, but then Preservation gives him a name. And I'm assuming, since Preservation knows this dude, he's like, and based on some of the stuff he was saying, he's from another planet. So this, I feel like, is our first kind of known entity that is coming from a completely different planet than Scadrial that shows up besides Preservation and Ruin. So yeah, it was a little surprising, honestly. But I really enjoyed the behind the scenes stuff. It's kind of sad that Kelsier basically tried to kill Ellen to get Vin to save the world, but I think it's more sad knowing how Vin felt about it afterwards. She, because for her, that was the turning point in her life when he died, and then when he died for real, she was like, well, I always felt like we were on borrowed time anyway. But it's like the only reason they were on borrowed time is because her surrogate dad like stabbed her boyfriend. So it's kind of sad. But no, good stuff.
Yeah, I agree. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, the Drifter stuff is probably the most interesting part just because we have no context for that. Everything else we've sort of, we know what's going on the other side of the coin. So it's like, all right, this is just where Kelsier is catching up with everything. And then you got this guy who just shows up riding a corpse boat. and it's like, what the hell is it? What? And yeah, he jumps into the well and comes back to life. And Kelsey's like, hey, do we all get to do that? And the guy's just like, nah, see ya. Yeah, no, it was all pretty fun. The stuff of like where Kelsier goes the other way on the pulses and sees Ruin hiding out, I'm like, oh, that's that was very trippy. That was a very like cosmic horror sort of story.
Yeah.
I kept picturing the bit at the end of Pacific Rim where they go through the drift and they see the monster's realm on the other side, and the monsters start looking back and just going, what the fuck? Sort of impression I got there. Except it was the Eye of Sauron because he just said it was a giant eye.
It's a tentacle monster,
Yeah. Although, and this is actually unrelated to the chapters, but it's taken me this long to look at the icons that they have above all the chapter headings and stuff like that of the circles with the lines through them, and I've just realized, oh, those lines look like spikes because it's all hemalurgic. Yeah, God, that's finally clicked.
We've just been using these symbols for our podcast for a year and a half now or whatever. It's fine.
I'm liking the behind the scenes stuff, and I think Dak is right. We already know what's been going on the other side, so we don't need to be given all of that information again, which is good that we're not being, I guess, spoon fed it all again. I was reading in anticipation of Kelsier's going to be able to manifest himself as a mist spirit and steal the knife, and I was like, yes, it's going to happen, and then he moved his arm, and I was like,
A little
well, that works. Just sort of on the same page, but just the opposite side of it, Yeah, I think Brandon described Ruin, like as Ruin was being set free or something about like spider's legs, and I was like, no, you've got it wrong. They are tentacles. So I was like, oh, okay, missed opportunity there. But yeah, the Drifter was super weird, and I don't know. I was kind of hoping that it would turn out he was like another Hoid or something, like that could just pass through. That would make you a really great informant. I don't know why I was thinking that, but yeah, I think this guy's going to be significant later on. Now that we've got that little piece of information and that he's taken the extra nugget. I mean, we know what it does, but we know he's been able to pass back into the human realm too. So see what happens. But yeah, it's good. It's a little bit of fun. Yeah, hopefully we get some more juicy knowledge nuggets coming up.
I like the idea that this guy's gone to the whatever it was, like the Hoid Informant Academy so that he could be one of the Hoids.
Yeah.
Every city needs one. It's all good.
Yeah, and they each have to have a different gimmick. Like one's blind, another's deaf.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, and the another one's lame, and he's like, "Oh, we've already got a blind guy. Get your own shtick."
I don't know that there's
This
that
guy's
many
shtick is
different things. One of them has a
Corpse
monocle. Oh yeah, corpse boat. See, that's kind of a weird shtick actually. I don't know.
Yeah. Good name
did-
for a band though, Corpse Boat.
Yeah.
boat.
Well, did he take the corpse boat with him? What do you call him, Spanky?
Yeah, I don't
kept
think
calling
he
him
took the
Spanky.
boat with him. No,
Yeah. So does that mean
I had to
Kelsier has the
laugh.
corpse boat now?
I don't know. That's a good question. We don't really hear about Spanky again.
You've got corpse boats. You got 'em from me, girl. Corpse boats. Big old corpse boats.
I work with a guy whose nickname is Spanky, and I just, as soon as they named him Spanky, I was like, oh man, that's all I can see.
Oh, Spanky.
I just couldn't stop thinking of, like, wasn't Spanky the leader of the Little Rascals?
That
You
does
are
sound
correct.
vaguely familiar, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, that's not good. Poor Spanky, he grew up and had a hard life.
Yeah. Riding
Look,
corpses through the
If you
through
grew up
the
on
mind,
Scadrial or whatever, it's not
Yeah.
good.
riding corpses through the mind realm. I don't even know how that works yet. It's just confusing.
That sounds like the Corpse Boat's hit single.
Mind realm.
No, riding corpses through the mind realm.
Oh,
Oh, yeah,
okay.
yeah.
It's like the Immigrant Song, but about riding corpses through the mind realm. It's like I come from the land of the mind.
Mind and bone.
Yeah, the mind and bone. I ride Spanky through the, whatever. I'm too tired to make a good song.
There's a whole song coming together now. It's great.
Yeah, it's all coming
Everyone
together now.
We have talented fans. Someone make a song.
Sure. Yeah, that guy made like a response spook rap, even though it was more insulting to me, even though I didn't insult spook in my spook rap.
Oh, you just insulted him in your everyday life.
Sure. I mean, he deserves it.
Hey, he's like king or something now. You better watch yourself.
Not king in my realm.
No, that's the Drifter.
Yeah. Sexy drifter.
Okay,
I hope the drifter goes out into the world and like cucks spook hardcore.
Oh, wow. That took a weird turn. Okay, I guess let's do these chapters. Okay, so yeah, the chapter starts out with Kelsier. He really wants something to write with, and he spends a long time trying to figure out. He's like, he unraveled threads from his clothing and tied knots to represent words. That's very Name of the Wind. I remember that. He tries all sorts of things, but he can't write. Apparently his clothes aren't even real clothes. They're just part of his spirit or whatever. And it turns out really he didn't need to write. He needed something to do to keep himself from going insane, trapped in here. So after he gave up on writing, it was a tough time for him.
If he can pull strings out of his, for lack of a better word, imaginary clothes, surely he could like manifest a chalkboard.
Right? I mean, if he can make clothes, why couldn't he make other things?
Hmm.
He just doesn't know how.
True. And preservation's not really in a frame of mind to divulge.
It's not super helpful.
Where's
No.
the slate board Kelsier used to always carry around for the crew meetings? It's like, if he's got that in his pocket, he's like, oh yeah, I've still got this. That's still part of my spirit because it was with me when I died.
I think didn't he use a big board, like a big
Yeah,
truck
I don't
rolled out?
think it fits in his pocket.
Oh, damn.
A pocket board. That'd be pretty big. That'd be a pretty big pocket or a pretty small board.
I think it'd be like a little notepad size, but then a lot of people couldn't see much of what you wrote
Yeah.
on it.
They'd be like, Kel, we can't read that. It's super tiny.
And Kel wouldn't care because he'd just be like, well, I can read it. I'm the important one, so.
Right. And we find out that according to Fuzz, he has something called a cognitive shadow, a force of mind holding his spirit together. And he's like, man, Sazed would love this crap. I don't, but Sazed would. And then he starts to feel pulses coming from the well, whispering words that are vaguely familiar. And with a little work, he figures out that he can ride the pulses to sort of see what's happening.
When you said that, it made me think of Ride the Walrus.
Brilliant.
Priceless ambergris? So apparently there's a lot of focus on Terraceman. It says that, like, and what I think we get out of this, because he sees, based on the things that he's seeing, is we're seeing the stuff that Ruin is reaching out and changing. So he's doing something to a bunch of Terracemen and some libraries. Maybe he's changing some stuff in prophecies or something. Kelsier sees madmen huddled in streets, whispering the words that the pulses delivered. So there's your crazy people that Ruin can reach out and talk to. And he saw a noble Mistborn man jumping between buildings, which, hi Zane, how are you?
Oh, okay. I didn't put that together. I always think of Zane as, because he was the unloved bastard son. He wasn't treated as a noble. He didn't dress in noble attire.
That's a fair point.
Until Straff needed him to go deliver a message or something.
All right. I don't know that it's ever explicit. I just don't. We know that Ruin is like influencing Zane, so I just kind of assumed that that's who we were talking about here. It could be somebody else.
That makes sense.
Oh, and then Kelsier realizes, hey, instead of looking at what the pulses are reaching out towards, I can follow them back to their source. And that's a bad idea, or not a great discovery for him when he gets down there and it's like, oh, it's like, this is not nice. It's not dark blackness. Blackness is too whole. It's a vast force that would gleefully take something as simple as darkness and rip it apart.
It's got to be an awful feeling
Yeah.
to be in the presence of that, especially like such a pure, concentrated form of ruin. That's just, that would have to be terrifying.
Yeah, it can't look or feel like good to experience this. And it's so bad that Kelsier, like, doesn't want to go back for a while. But of course, sitting around for months doing nothing else, he's like, yeah, okay, I guess I'll go back and see what's going on. And for weeks, he goes in and looks at the thing until the day that it looks back at him.
Nope, 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 nope.
Nope, right out of there. He couldn't help feel that an infinite vast eye was suddenly squinting at him. So he fled. Yeah, good call.
Yeah, Sauron.
Or Krayak, if you're an Animorphs fan.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about the Animorphs.
Used to read them all the time.
I
Anyway.
never read any of those, personally. I'd always see them on the shelf and be like, I don't know. There's so many of those.
Yeah, fair.
Also, apparently Fuzz just shows up every once in a while. Like, I spent a lot of time with Kelsier, but sometimes he shows up and he's cool. Although, the next time he shows up, he's like, hey, Fuzz, dude, that ruin thing, I totally saw it. And Fuzz is, like, completely ignoring him. He's like, idiot, hey, you're a disgrace to deityhood. Are you paying attention? But it says, Fuzz stopped before him, and his cheeks unraveled fully, revealing a skeleton beneath that was also unraveling. So Kelsier's like, this really is like a god. It's just a really broken one. So Kelsier's only buddy is like a slowly decaying, going insane god. It's not his best time here. Probably still better than the pits, though.
I was kind of wondering, because there's so many of Fuzz to greet everybody and transition them to the other side. Are they all unraveling? Because that would be terrifying. If you've just died and they've been greeted by that.
Oh, that's really, yeah.
I would want to be out of there pretty fast, too.
Like, oh no, you're a skeleton suddenly. This is not fun.
Be like, is that going to happen to me? Am I just going to start unraveling? Like, that's not okay. This is not the experience I was looking for.
Afterlife sucks.
A casino where I always win and people are unraveling. This must be hell.
The skeleton tries to leap out the mouth and escape the body.
Inflammable means flammable?
What a country.
Good times.
My only regret is that I had bonitis. And then, of course, Kelsier goes crazy and starts talking to himself, which, as you do.
And we've all been there.
Yeah,
So I had a lot of mental pictures going on in these chapters. I was like, there's Gollum and Smeagol reflecting in the pool. Like, but they're our friends. You don't have any friends. Oh, poor Kelsier.
He's talking about Elland. Like, he's not our friend.
I think in my mind, it's like, it's one of those things where it cuts back and forth and Kelsier's facing in opposite directions for each line. And they're just like quick cuts where it's like, he looks like he's fighting with himself.
Yeah.
And then of course he admits that I really haven't been sane since the pits. So, and that's when there's a voice. It's like, well, I didn't expect this. And Kelsier's like, what? Am I hallucinating? Because what he sees is someone not made of mists, like all the other people, the real people that he can perceive. A man with stark white hair, angular features, and a sharp nose. Vaguely familiar to Kelsier, but he couldn't place him.
It's Gemmel!
That would be hilarious. He sat on the floor,
yeah,
one leg up.
I did think Gemmel at first.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, I did think it was Gemmel at first, but he's just too young and sexy. I'm just like, nah, there's no way this is Gemmel.
This guy is at the same time less and more crazy than Gemmel.
Yeah, that's true.
Gemmel was crazy. This guy's crazy like a fox.
This guy is something else. It's true.
I could definitely see Gemmel riding a corpse boat.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Gemmel would, like, kill lots of people to make his corpse boat. I buy that.
Just, like,
yeah, and the song's playing. Right. The song's
He's-
playing. It's like, murder, climb aboard the murder boat.
He's just writing it, and one of the bodies says, "I'm not dead yet."
Watch, you'll be stone dead in a moment.
Shut
He's
up,
just like,
Spanky.
"Oh, I'm hearing those voices again."
But I just like how casual the description sounds. It's like he's got a leg propped up, his arms resting on his knee. He's just chilling on this, what turns out to be, he thinks it's a log at first, sunk into the mist of the floor, bobbing like it's in water. And it's not, it's a corpse, but I guess we're not quite there yet. And the man says, "You are very bad at doing what you're supposed to do." And Kelsey's like, "Wait, who are you? The spirit?" And the guy's like, "Nah. Death, bad for the complexion. Not my thing." And I like the next thing is, Kelsier hated him immediately.
Oh yeah, 100% on board with that. just his reaction specifically. I'm just like, "Yep, that's Kelsier."
Yeah. Well, this is a guy who seems to know more about what's going on than Kelsier and is really smug about it, and Kelsier would not take that well.
No.
He's supposed to be the flamboyant, making crazy entrances and knows more than everyone else guy.
Kelsey's just like, "Shit, when did I turn into a Wheel of Time protagonist?"
Not allowed to know anything.
Not allowed to know anything. Like, no one tells him anything, and people are really smug about it.
So smug. Oh my gosh. But like, I could see Kelsier, if he had the opportunity, showing up somewhere on a corpse boat, acting like it's just nothing. Like, yeah, it's just we Mistborn are mysterious.
Yeah, he hates the Drifter because he thought of it first.
Yeah. And dude's like, "Oh, you got stuck in Addie's prison, huh? Well, I guess that's poetic justice for what you did." And Kelsier's like, what did I do? And dude's like, "Well, you destroyed the pits. Oh, scarred one. The only perpendicularity on this planet with any reasonable ease of access. This one is very dangerous and growing more so by the minute, and difficult to find. You basically ended traffic through Scadrial and upended an entire mercantile ecosystem," which I'll admit was fun to watch. So there's something that I don't know that we'd mentioned or had any way of knowing, but
Not parallel dimensions, but perpendicular dimensions or something.
Yep. Good old perpendicular.
the Pits of Hathsin were a center for commerce, interplanetary commerce, moving through Scadrial. But apparently, because of what Kelsier did when he destroyed all the crystals, that no longer is the case.
So yeah, I guess the power from the Adium growing there, they were using old Addie's body power somehow to trade? I don't know. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, this is a big old bag of foreshadowing for later.
Yeah.
Just random fun fact. There is one character who we have met in the books who was aware of and involved in this interplanetary trade route that went through there.
Hoyd, huh?
Making money off that. I'm not going to say who it was, but if it's not hard to actually logic out if you think about who ran the pits and who would have had access to
Straff?
be able to walk in and out of there.
Interplanetary stuff?
Rashek? Oh god,
Choc-
please don't tell me it was Kanpar.
Conpar. Chocolate Rain?
Chocolate Rain. Anyway.
I don't know. I wanted to say that guy from Fadrex, but what you're saying is better.
Which guy from Fadrex?
The informant dude that Vin used.
Oh, Slow Swift.
Oh, yeah, Slow Swift.
Yeah, good old Swift Slow.
And Kelsier's saying, like, well, who are you? And the guy's like, I'm a drifter, a miscreant. The flame's last breath made of smoke at its passing. I don't know why, but I just love the line where Kelsier's like, that's needlessly obtuse.
Pot meat kettle.
Yeah, seriously. And the guy's like, oh, I'm that too. That mostly, if I'm honest. Just, oh gosh.
Shut up, baby, I know it.
And dude's like, and Kelsier's like, are you sure you're not dead? And he's like, if I was dead, I wouldn't need this, would I? And he smacks his oar against his vessel, which Kelsier now realizes is a body, a corpse. And the guy's like, oh, Spanky here is just a spirit. It's damnably difficult to get about in this subastral. Anyone physical risks slipping through the mists and falling perhaps forever. So yeah, that sounds bad. And Kelsier's offended somehow by using a corpse for travel. He's like, whatever. You killed tons of people. At least I only need one corpse. And then Kelsier's like, hey, maybe you can help me. And Drifter Guy is like, nope, sorry. You're a hopeless case. You're going to be that ugly forever. And then, I don't know that I'm going to call him sexy like Joe, but this guy's just fun. I love every line.
Yeah, he's sexy.
Kelsier's like, you bastard. And he's like, no, that is demonstrably wrong. I believe only one of us in this room is illegitimate, and it's not me.
Oh, damn.
What about you, Spanky? And the corpse mumbles something. He's like, oh, happily married parents still alive? Sorry for their loss.
Man, this guy's a dick to his boat.
No, he's like, oh, I'm sorry about their loss of you. It's very nice.
Yeah, exactly. It's like after the fact. It's like, oh, yeah, I killed you. Oh, I deprived your parents of their child? Ah, shit, them's the breaks.
I don't know. See, he killed him.
Yeah, I'm not sure that he did. I don't think it says either way. He just found a corpse. Or found a spirit or something.
The impression I got was that he killed him for his own purposes. Just after the whole, hey, you started a revolution and killed a whole bunch of people. I only need one corpse.
That would be pretty messed up if he killed him to use him as a boat. There's plenty of dead people around to use as a boat. It's probably, right?
He's just like, this is not why I went to university.
And then there's a moment where the guy tries to hide something that he's doing from Kelsier. Although, even though Kelsier sees it, it's still not quite clear what's going on. It says he removed something from his pocket, or he reached down to the corpse he was using as boat, then removed something from his pocket, something that glowed, and he administered it to the vessel, and then covering the motion with a cough, applies some of the glow to his oar, which allows him, I guess, to use it to move, because he then places the oar in the mists and kind of scoots closer. And Kelsier's like, I would like some information. Is there any way that I can get out of here? And dude's like, I'll tell you this. Why don't we have an insult battle? And whoever wins gets to ask one question of the other one, and they have to answer truthfully. And it's like, I'll start. What's wet, ugly, and has scars on its arms? Which, oh, man. But Kelsier kind of perceives that this guy's trying to distract him so that he can kind of make a jump for it. And he's ready. And the answer is anyone who spends time with you, Kelsier, because they'll end up slitting their wrists, hitting themselves in the face, and then drowning themselves to forget the experience.
Way darker than I thought it was going to go.
Also, not a very good joke.
No.
Doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Although Kelsier goes even darker, but he's just like, I'm going to kill you.
Well, yeah.
If
he
you
doesn't
come
pretend
in
it's a
here,
joke, though.
yeah, it's true. If you come in here, I'm going to murder you. I'm going to slice the tendons of your wrists so your hands can't do anything, and then remove your fingers one by one, and only stop choking you long enough to feed you your own fingers so that you choke to death on your own rotten flesh. And the dude's just like, what? I don't think you know how to play this game.
That did make me laugh.
Well, it's like there was nothing in there that was insulting. It was just threatening. Like, actually, no, that's not the rules.
Yeah, exactly. Come on, play by the rules, dude. And then we end with, he's like, seriously, you need help, Kelsier? I know a guy, tall, bald, wears lots of earrings. Have a chat with him next. And then he makes a jump for it, and Kelsier's ready. And there's a scuffle of sorts. And Kelsier, he does okay, not great. It kind of ends up getting his ass handed to him.
This really made me think of, I don't know if you guys have seen Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yes, I have.
Yeah. It's like, just like, if anyone's listening hasn't seen it, I won't spoil it, but like late in the movie, the two are going at it as they tend to do. And then one of them just sort of just like, you know what, fuck it, I'm done playing around, and just hands the other one its ass. And that's what this reminded me of. Just like as soon as the drift went, all right. And then all of a sudden, Kelsier got force-fed his ass.
Yeah. But there's an interesting bit where the drifter's like, that was unpleasant, yet somehow still satisfying. Apparently, you already being dead means I can hurt you. So, whatever that means. And then he even apologizes. I'm sorry about treating you so roughly, but you're not supposed to be here. You did what I needed you to, but you're a wild card that I would rather not deal with right now. And then mentions that it's been centuries since anyone got the drop on him. So this person's an old dude.
Well, he's on first name terms with Ruin. So.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Also says that Kelsier did what he needed him to do. So this guy was wanting something that Kelsier did for him also. And then he passes on a nice little little lesson about Kelsier's condition, where he's like, look, the pain is caused by your mind. You think that this should hurt, so it hurts. Then he jumps into the middle and climbs out back in the real world and walks over to where Kelsier sees two tiny sources of metal and takes one and leaves. So there goes our second beat of Loracium.
Pre-blown.
And then while he's trying to recover, Fuzz is hanging out. And he's like, what? Fuzz is like, what were you doing? And Kelsier's like, oh, you just met, there was a dude here, like a white-haired dude who went through the well. And Fuzz is like, so he dared that, did he? Dangerous with Ruin straining at his bonds. But if anyone were going to try something so foolhardy, it would be Sifandrius. And Kelsier's like, he stole like a piece of metal from over there? And Fuzz says, I thought when he rejected the rest of us, he would stop interfering. I should know better than to trust an implication from him. And we don't get any more information about him. He's just an old friend. And Fuzz is like, oh, and by the way, no, you cannot do what he did. You no longer have a tie to the physical realm, being that your body is dead. So you're a kite with no string connected to the ground. You cannot ride the perpendicularity across. And Kelsier's like, well, then how come he could come to the world of the dead? And Frustration's like, no, it's not the world of the dead. It's not a... Jeez, okay.
He's like, I explained this to you. It's the in-between. It's not that thing you're saying it is. How many times do I have to tell you?
And he gives like a metaphor here that's not maybe the best. But he's like, so men, all things are like a ray of light. The floor is the physical realm where the light pools. The sun is the spiritual realm where it starts. And this realm is the cognitive realm, which is where the beam stretches. And Kelsier's just like, that barely made any sense.
You are standing in the brain.
But this is not the first time that we've heard everything has like a physical, spiritual, and cognitive component to it. That came up in the epigraphs of the last books, so the concept at least is not totally new. And he thinks Fuzz is looking better, except when he turns, half of his face is just gone.
Creepy.
Yeah. And Fuzz is like, Addie thinks to finish me. Indeed, I'm already dead. And then he leaves again. Which, yeah, okay, thanks. Thanks for stopping by. And that was that first chapter. I think that may be the longest chapter of the 4 that we read. The second chapter is like, Kelsier no longer worried about madness or boredom. He just, every time he starts feeling weary, he just remembers how humiliated he was by the Drifter. And he's like, oh, that ain't happening again. And he keeps riding the pulses, it says he sensed a familiar pattern to things, cryptic clues as to Ruin's motives. He even spots the Drifter in some very rare pulses and says, what's that guy doing up in the Terrace Dominance? So, do you guys happen to remember what's going on in the Terrace Dominance in the middle of book 2?
The Inquisitors were up there killing the shit out of every bloody terraceman they could.
And in point of fact, we met this guy when we met the people on their way back from Terrace.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he didn't. He's not described as looking quite the same, but Brandon has said that yes, this is the same person that Elend and Spook talked to when they met up with that group of terracemen heading towards Luthadel.
Skipping to that part now.
Yeah, and it's described as being a terraceman. Apparently, this guy is good at disguising himself.
Okay, but he's not hanging out with the Inquisitors.
No, it doesn't seem like it. He's kind of leading, or one of the leaders of this group when they're heading south. So he does see that Ruin, in these pulses, that Ruin is very interested in Vin and Elend. And this is when Kelsier finds out that Ellen Venture became king. And after that, he's so pissed off that he spends days kind of sulking about it. Which you can't really blame him. We weren't really happy when Ellen became king either. And I like that Kelsier's like, even Dox is listening to this guy. Like, I expect Breeze to just go along with whatever is best for Breeze, but Doxson? Jeez. But this is also the point at which he discovers that Marsh is still alive. Which I don't know if anyone had thought about that, but it's like, he doesn't know that Marsh wasn't dead. He died thinking his brother had died first.
I have thought about that in the past, but it never really came up to bring it up. It's like, oh, Kelsier died thinking his brother was gone, and yeah, never found out about this. And like, oh, okay, scratch that.
Yep, it's a sad thing.
And there's some interesting stuff here about their relationship and why they weren't close. And it is kind of sad. But he's like, it's even sadder now because now he's an Inquisitor and not in control of himself. Oh, and we get a look from the other side of that one scene in Well of Ascension when Vin comes into the tent and finds the Mist Ghost about to stab Elend. It turns out that was Ruin impersonating the Mist Ghost, or Preservation, as we now know, to try to convince Vin not to trust her, or him, rather. And then we get to Chapter 3, and apparently at some point, Fuzz, as Kelsier continues to call him, is like, I'm Preservation, by the way. That's... If you're not going to say my lord, at least maybe we could go for my actual... Okay, well.
Please stop calling me Fuzz.
It's a little
Preservation
bit...
doesn't realize the whole reason Lesterborns is called Spook is because Lesterborns was too long, so back to Fuzz we go.
Yeah, he's really barking up the wrong tree if he thinks he's going to get Kelsier to change it.
And Kelsier has a theory where he's like, it's a plug. The well is a plug to keep Ruin and the thing that created. And Preservation's like, that's stupid. What do you know? That's not it at all. Even though in a way, I think it kind of is it.
Yeah, I think he was closer to the mark than he wanted Kelsier to know.
It's just the Preservation is falling apart. He's losing all his faculties. But then Kelsier gets it wrong about his work, and he has to pull himself together enough just to tell him, no, you idiot.
He tries to explain to Kelsier about how everything is part Preservation. He's like, the people, the rocks, everything is like part of each of us. So you can't exactly trap all of... He's like, my power gathers here, but it's just a natural cycle, like clouds, rains, river, humidity. If you put so much essence into a system, it congeals here and there. Which that's a nice word for it, but okay. And Preservation continues to explain to Kelsier, he's like, oh no, I'm dead. I died a long time ago. And Kelsier's like, but I'm talking to you. So he's like, look, for someone like me, death isn't like for you, normies. It's the power stays and it remembers and it kind of persists to some degree.
I'm sorry. You read out the setup to one of the best lines in this section, and then you skipped over the punchline.
What's that?
Kelsier says, I'm sitting here talking to you, and Preservation just goes, and I'm talking to you. How alive are you?
Yep, forgot that one.
Like, boom, roasted.
Kelsier just thinks, a good point. I am also dead. Yep, okay. Preservation tries to tell Kelsier, stay away from Ruin. He's dangerous. And also explains that I didn't imprison him so much as delay him. And he also explains about the power and how giving it up is basically like letting... He calls it a stand-in for giving the power to Ruin. So we'll let him free. And then Fuzz is distracted by something, and Kelsier's like, what's going on? He's like, shut up. I'm trying to stop this. And he's like, what? He's like, I'm everywhere. Don't assume that you know my shit, okay? I got other stuff happening. Be quiet. So he's out there working as the Mist Spirit, I guess, to try to stop what's happening. This may be the part where he's like standing in Sazed's room, pointing at the thing that he's ripped off the slip of paper, like this. Look at this. And he says they're here, and Vin and Elend stroll in. And I like that Kelsier's like, you know what? Whatever faults this guy has, he stayed with Vin, so I respect that.
Sorry, again, you skipped one of the best lines in this section. It's like,
when he's like, if he touches it, I'm going to slap him?
No, it's like
that's my favorite.
When Preservation is talking down to him, and then just goes, are you going to hit me again?
Oh, yeah, you should worry about that. Honestly, I don't know why he's even talking to Kelsier. If he's distracted by other things, he doesn't have to be here hanging out with Kelsier.
That's true. I guess because he was waiting for... Yeah, he was waiting for them to show up.
But yeah, I love that Kelsier thinks, he's like, you know what? Venture's not so bad. He stayed with Vin. And then immediately sees Venture kneel by the pool. He's like, if he touches it, I'm going to slap him.
That is good.
And Preservation's like, I've tried to prepare her. She's going to take the power. We're going to have to see. And Kelsier's like, you tried. Did you explain to her? Because I've seen Ruin talking to her and trying to influence her. And she needs someone to tell her what she's supposed to do. But
it turns out that Preservation says he can't speak to her, he can hear her mind. So Ruin can talk to you, but can't hear what you're thinking. Preservation can hear what you're thinking, but can't talk to you. So that's a shame. And Kelsier knows that Vin is just the kind of person who's going to give up this power because she thinks that she'll be saving everyone. She's like, she's a better person than I ever was, and never thought she deserved any of the good stuff that she got. So Kelsier's like, hey, I know what we need to do. You should stab that guy. Preservation's like, I can't stab someone. He's like, you got a belt right there, dude. Just give him a good, practicing my stabbing, Red. Just get in there.
I like this is really the moment for me where Preservation's like, are you high? What are you talking about? Stabbing people. I don't do that. I'm Preservation.
He's like, I haven't drawn this knife in millennia.
Yeah, look at it. It's all mind rusted.
And Kelsier almost sort of talks him into it. He like pulls the knife and kind of goes over there, and he's like, no, I can't do it. Can't do it. And so Kelsier jumps in and shoves his arm and does it for him. He's like, sorry about this, kid. Slice. And Kelsier's just sitting there like, gut wound. He'll take time to dive in. Grab it. Come on. Use the power. And for a moment, he's like, will that free me? Or like, what's it going to do? I have no clue. Oh, and here's where you were talking about it. He sees Ruin. To his horror, he sees it change, sending forward spines like the spindly legs of a spider. On their end, dangling like a puppet, was a humanoid figure. This is like some Coraline shit.
Yeah, this is pretty creepy.
And then he hears Ruin saying in her mind the things that we heard Ruin say at the end of the book. It's like, no, don't do it. You know what you have to do. What would Ellen want you to do? And Kelsier's like, don't listen. No. And she lets the power go. Ruin goes free. Not like that's a surprise. We knew that's what happened. And Kelsier's free. He can leave now that the power's gone. Whoop-de-doo. And he's not like fading or anything. His time in the well had expanded his soul. Whatever that meant. And once again, Kelsier gets another good line. I must be the smartest idiot around.
Yeah. Oh, Kelsier, how I missed your quippy behavior.
But Preservation's like, no, I can help here, and does the whole thing where he points at the thing to Vin and gets her to give Ellen the medal, which is funny because it's like Kelsier didn't consider. I guess he didn't necessarily know what the medal does, but Kelsier's the one who almost kills Ellen, and then Preservation's like has to come and clean up the mess. Kelsier doesn't seem to care overly much after the power's gone. He's like, well, kid's gonna die. What are you gonna do? But then after Preservation saves him, he's like, hey, that was good, Fuzz. I'm almost ready to think of you. You're a benevolent god. Kelsier's like, so yeah, Ruin's free. And Preservation's like, yeah, but good thing for us. Before I died, I put a plan into motion. I can't remember it, but I'm certain it was brilliant.
I think I put a plan into motion. It sounds like something I would have done. Like, man, when you're firing on all cylinders, Fuzz, you're actually okay, and I would probably like to have a conversation with you. But when you're not, I just don't know what to make of you.
Yeah. The funny thing is, that sounds to me like a Kelsier line where he's just like, hey, I can't remember what I did, but I'm sure it was awesome.
I mean, he literally says that. He says to Preservation, it's like, I think I've said that after a night on the town.
Yep, you're right. He says exactly that. I'd forgotten that bit. And so Kelsier's like, hey, I'm free too. This is where you make a joke, saying you're not sure which one is more dangerous. And Fuzz is like, no, I know. Failing marks for effort there, I'm afraid. And then Preservation tries with the joke. He's like, perhaps I can't say which one is more annoying.
Good one, Preservation.
And then we end with like, we'll make a solid crew member out of you yet, Fuzz. For now, I want to get the hell out of this room because I've been in here for like a year. Tired of this place. I don't blame him. And yeah, that's the end. There wasn't, there's not a whole lot of content there. This will end up being a shorter episode probably. While we're on the topic, for next time, we're going to do parts 3 and 4, which are called Spirit and Journey.
Oh no, we broke the theme naming.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, I know. I was looking for Hero or Aegis.
but you guys will come
I mean, with
across-
6 parts and 3 books.
Yeah, exactly. They couldn't all.
Oh, I
be
forgot.
winners.
Yeah, there's 6
Yep.
parts. They couldn't all
They-
be
they-
winners. It's 100
they could-
floors of frights. They ain't all gonna be winners.
They could have been in order.
Yeah, I guess. Have you guys seen that David Pumpkin sketch? It's a good sketch.
Nope.
Nope. From me also. But yeah, there's going to be a lot more interesting new information in here. So next episode should be pretty fun to talk about. It's looks like about 7 chapters. There's 3 chapters in Spirit and 4 chapters in Journey. So that's what we're doing for next time. In the meantime, let's jump into predicaments. Does anyone have any idea where this could possibly be going at this point?
Well, it's followed the path that I predicted this last time. But now that Kelsier is able to move outside of the well, I'm hoping that it becomes a little bit different. Maybe he'll be doing extra stuff behind the scenes. I mean, we know at some point he's going to get in touch with Spook through his dreams. So maybe he's going to be able to reach out to people's minds somehow, since he's in the realm of the mind. And I'm almost wondering if Spook, like we were talking about last time, if Spook like literally was in the in-between. He was dying, but then he went back.
He was in the upside down, eh? Okay.
Right. So like, and I think maybe Dak or Jamie said that last week. But yeah, I think that Kelsier's role is not done in this series. We've got a whole other book to go here, so I think he's going to have more behind the scenes work to do. But yeah, this sexy drifter, I want to know more about this guy and quite possibly this interplanetary mercantile system. That's crazy. So I'm definitely excited for what's ahead.
Yeah. I've got a large theory about what's coming up, and it all hinges around Kelsier and the Drifter, who his original name was like Saphandrius. That's kind of long. I'm going to call him Jeff.
Yes, Saphandrius.
Yeah. So I have all kinds of shit about Jeff, and ultimately I think Kelsier is going to be following him around because, one, he's kind of pissed at the guy beating his ass. But he's also just like, this guy is a factor that we can't predict. I don't know what he's going to be doing. Because like he'll look at Elend and Vin just going like, look, they got the Ruin stuff sort of in hand, but they don't know about this other guy, and he's a threat. And Ruin was very interested in him, so I need to go and find out what he's doing. For some reason, I had it in my head that's like way back when we first went to Urto and Spook was spying on Quellian's meeting. There was that third guy in the room who never got named. So no reason, no proof. Just like I'm just saying, fuck it, that was Jeff.
Yeah.
So
keep coming back to that guy.
For some reason, like I say, that's him. That's why Kelsier was hanging around Urto and was there to be able to give Spook the messages that he did. Yeah, I think he's hunting Jeff across the Empire. As for what Jeff is doing, he made a point that Kelsier did what he needed him to do, and he talks about how he's like, yeah, you destroyed the pits, so you destroyed that economy, and then this guy's just kind of like, all right, cool, that's done. Then he sails in on his corpse boat, jumps into the well, and now he's in the land of the living. So this guy knows the shards because he talks like Preservation, like says, oh yeah, I know that guy, and he knows Ruin's real name. So this guy at some point has incurred the wrath of the shards. So he's just sort of influenced Ruin of Preservation's plans, got Kelsier to destroy the pits because he says that was the easy one to access. The other ones are difficult and hard to find. So now that the pits are gone, this guy jumped in the well. He's running off and he's on this planet. He knows that the other shards can't find him there because the shards that are on this planet, one's losing its mind. The other two is obsessed with wrecking the place. So he's going to be fine. He's safe from their influence.
Well, except for the wrecking, I guess. If he's on this planet now, that might be a problem.
Yeah, but he seems to have an understanding of both Ruin and Preservation, so he would have been watching what's going on, and he would know the Lord Ruler set up the caches. So all he's got to do is just work his way into one of those, and he's set. So
lots of good stuff in there. It's true.
That's what I think Jeff is up to. The only other prediction I had was just like in the afterlife, Says did mention that he's spoken to Vin and Elend and he's spoken to Kelsier. So I was like, Vin and Elend are going to have a really awkward conversation with Kelsier about the whole stabbing Elend thing. Yeah.
It's like, no, you guys don't need to know what happened there. It's fine. They don't know that it was Kelsier, you know. And by the time they die, Preservation's dead, right? So who's going to tell them?
Yeah. It's like, I saw Preservation stab you. Yeah, that's what happened.
It's totally that guy. What a jerk,
I mean, technically
right?
speaking, Preservation did stab Elend. It was just being guided by Kelsier.
Anyways, Jamie, what about you? Any predictions?
Um, nothing as outrageous as Dak's thoughts. I honestly don't know where you pull all that information from the books in the past. That's pretty impressive. I Yeah, I think Kelsier is probably going to find a way now that he's not tethered to the well and that his soul has been expanded or however that works to, I guess, probably aid preservation as much as he can. I don't know how much of an effect he's going to be able to directly have, but it'll be interesting to see how much he was able to influence or sort of bring the crew that's still alive to a point of awareness of something. We know now that Kelsier is particularly aware of 16, the significance of 16, even though he doesn't necessarily agree. So maybe he's able to influence their ability to figure that out. I don't really know how it would work, but I think we're going to see more interaction, more influence, I guess, from Kelsier than what we thought, because preservation doesn't really even know. He's got moments of lucidity, but he doesn't even really know what his plan is or what he's put in place, or he's just fading away. So I don't know how. I think Kelsier is really going to be sort of a helping hand for him. Yeah, I was going to go with Jeff because I can't remember his name. I was going to go a step further and maybe go he was a shard from another planet, maybe if there's more shards somewhere. But I don't know if we don't really know enough about how that works yet. I mean, theoretically, you'd think that preservation or ruin could potentially do the same thing if they wanted to, but they're not doing that, I guess. And I mean, ruin's trapped and preservation's already dead, so maybe it's a case that they can't. But if this guy's still alive, maybe that's how he sort of moves through. That's how he'd know their names and what they're like, and they've got a history clearly. So yeah, maybe, and that could explain why he's not quite like them either. Or he could just be, from a different planet and not quite the same biology. Yeah, I think that's really all I've got. Nothing too specific.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair, and it's really kind of tough now because we still don't. We could have predicted last time that Kelsier, and we did, that Kelsier would be in the well until at least the power was taken because he had no other way out. But other than that, we don't have a lot of information. It's like, what's he gonna do now? He's a dead guy in a world that is gonna start falling apart relatively soon because Ruin is now free to do his thing. So who knows? Okay. I guess we had 3 emails left from our previous record, so let's hit those real quick. The first one is from Fell Knight. It says, Dak, Data, Jamie, and Joe, thanks for the excellent coverage of my favorite trilogy. It's been a fun ride. In this year of Discord, you have been a harmonious staple of my Mondays. I'm super stoked that you decided to go with Secret History next. I think it's the right call, given the timelines involved, and given that you've been feeding the panel with relevant annotations. I think it's very fair to slot this in here next and really start to reveal some mechanics of the Cosmere. I can't wait to see what excellent or dubious predictions / theories are made by panelists going forward once armed with just enough Cosmere knowledge to be dangerous. Wasing to the time of next. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
It's it's going to be interesting. We're already getting some interesting knowledge from this. We found out about shards and things in the last episode. So let's see. The next one is from Angela 2, and she says, "Hi, Sanderlanche crew. I thought I would chime in on the audiobook discussion because somebody sent in an email about audiobooks and we hit on that for a bit. Having both read and listened to Brandon's books, I would highly recommend checking out the audiobooks for Brandon's books in general. While they don't do all of his books, Michael Kramer and Kate Redding do a big chunk of them, and they are brilliant. By the way, I have heard that many times that the two of them do a really amazing job. So I can substantiate what she's saying to some degree. They actually helped me connect some plot dots a little quicker than I think I otherwise would have, because sometimes hearing a word said out loud makes a difference. That said, you can't see when something isn't normally capitalized. Oh, when something is capitalized, it normally isn't capitalized. So you might miss some things as well. The other problem can be that because you hear the different voices for each character, things might be given away. I've heard what she says next here, that basically the annotations for Hero of Ages get read in like the audio narrator's Sazed voice. So it's much more obvious to the people who are listening to audiobook. Oh, that's Sazed. Okay.
Oh yeah, that's a bummer.
Yeah, that would suck.
Also, she doesn't talk about it, but I've heard. Oh no, never mind. She's about to say it. I will say that no matter your opinion on audiobook, when you get to Warbreaker, there's a scene that's really great to listen to in audio format. It's the best in the graphic audio form, which is like a radio play. The scene was funny to read, but I died laughing when I listened to it. Data, I'm sure you can guess which one I'm referring to. So yeah, she mentions the graphic audio here, which I have listened to some of, and it is really cool because it's like a radio play. There's sound effects and different people reading different characters and stuff. Those are really
familiar.
fun. Yeah.
I'm
pretty sure
in
I
one of
mentioned
those
it.
listeners.
Oh yeah, see?
Look up X-Men the audio drama on your podcast platforms. I'm in season 3.
But that's like an original, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Well, it's adapted from comic stories, but
Oh, okay, so it's like the comic story, but they adapted it for. I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when the first one you did, because I listened to that one, and I was like, this is pretty cool, and it is similar to what because I've listened to a bit of the graphic audio. It's like the very beginning of Stormlight I listened to, and it's because it was on like YouTube for free, the preface or whatever, one little chapter, and it's pretty cool. There's like a battle scene, and you can hear like swords in the background and stuff, and it's just like, once again, that might keep my attention a little better than audiobooks, regular audiobooks, but I have a hard time paying attention to a whole story that way. Sorry, her email goes on. Joe, if you're going to do something different instead of the Misting Crew for reviews after this series is done, I hope there will be some way those of us who've already done a review can participate. One of the best parts of this podcast is how much us fans are able to interact with you all, and I would hate to miss out on the chance of being assigned a different title. As always, keep up the great work. The show keeps getting better and better. I'm a big fan of musicals, so anytime someone starts singing a song, whether existing or one that you made up, that reminds you of a scene that always puts a smile on my face. The Book of Mormon tangent was particularly fun.
I've forgotten we did that.
Right?
Yeah.
And props to Michael for starting a spook rap battle. I don't have strong feelings one way or another on spook, but I find how polarizing he is on the podcast to be entertaining.
Yeah, well, somebody's got to be polarizing, right? We'll find somebody in the next era to do that with.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
I'm expecting like anyone who's listening just to go, man, you hate Spook so much, and then you get to the Drifter and how much you really like him, and they just go, what?
The Drifter
I don't
is
know what it was
Spook.
about that guy. He's like, you know what it is? He's like Nega Kelsier, but in a good way.
Yeah, we're going to have brunch. He's just a really good guy.
Yeah, we just shot the shit, you know? It was good. He's actually a pretty cool guy.
Nega Scott.
Nigga Scott.
Love that movie. Okay, that was Angela. The last email is from Michael. Good evening, Sanderlanche crew. Michael from Seattle. Thank you very much for the shout out, and I'm happy you enjoyed my awful spook rap. I want to apologize to Dak for forgetting the correct theory about Addy empowering volcanoes was his and saying it was Joe's. As
That's
a keeper,
cool, man. Everyone
Okay.
else will remind me of that.
Yep. Sometimes Dak wants to forget it, and then when it gets attributed to Joe, he's like, hold the fuck on. That was me, damn it.
I mean, yes, it was like ludicrous and it was embarrassing, but if you got to blame anyone for it, you got to blame the person who actually is responsible for it. I'll accept that.
I don't think you should be embarrassed at all. I think it was genius. I think it was the best theory that has ever come on this podcast.
No one would have kept listening to the show if it wasn't for the volcano theory.
It's kind of like
that's
that,
all.
just that weird thing you did in your childhood. It's like, yeah, it's on the one level you're just like, oh, I can't believe I did that, but on another it's like, it's actually pretty funny though.
And I mean, we're still talking about it 3 books later.
Yep.
So
Yep.
Okay, so he says, as a keeper, because that's what Joe made him a keeper, I nominate Dak as ruler of the Synod in apology. Now that
Okay.
you're done
Cool.
with, you can be the leader of the Synod. Maybe the Inquisitors will show up and try to murder you.
Oh god.
The leader of the bunch, you know him well.
No, but that means I'm going to kick Sazed out. I don't want to do that. Sazed is my boy.
I guess it depends on if this is before or after Sazed became God.
Yeah, true.
Maybe they reform the Synod and they're all Sazed lovers at that point. I don't know. Like the gods all so far have weird names like Ruin and preservation. Do you think Saze is just going to be Sazed, or is he going to come up with like a cool god name?
Preserruin.
True innovation. Yeah.
Preservation.
Did you say reservation?
I did.
Maybe it's a case of they take on that name because that's the god that they've stepped into, but you still have your own name as well.
Well, yeah, I guess we do find out Addy is like Ruin's name, so yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
He's
he's
Sazed,
the-
but he is preservation and ruin.
Okay, yeah. That would make sense.
He's the High Keeper.
So wait, if the theory from last time was right, where was it Dak who was like Addium, or was it Joe who was like maybe
That was Joe.
Laracium is because preservation's name is Laras. So if Sazed is a god, does he have a medal? And would it be like Sazium?
Cesium.
Cesium.
Sazdium. Cesium.
Maybe?
Sazedium is hard to say. I don't like it. Okay.
He's hanging out with Kelsier, who nicknames everything. Kelsier's going to make up, all right, you're a god now. You need to have a new name.
Yep. But it's got to be something short. It's got to be like one syllable.
Yep.
Sorry. So anyway, back to Michael's email. Now that you're done with Era 1 and moving into Secret History, I can't wait to hear Dak, Jamie, and Joe's collective heads explode. Or heads collectively explode. Since Addium, the god of ruin, gives a glimpse into the future, and Laracium gives people Mistborn powers, do you think that Sazed, who's now a combination of the two, will have his own medal? And if he did, what would it do? Wasing to the time of next. Michael.
Well, we just talked about what we might name it.
Got to that conversation.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know what it would do. Maybe metal bending?
Nice.
That's kind of like steel and iron, though, to like move metal around, right?
Well, I picture it'd probably just give someone really good, like, memories and understanding of the world around them, since that was always Say's thing, and that was what he used to save the world.
It would have to be something knowledge-based or something. Yeah.
Or it would really balance their pH levels.
Oh, I'm so acid. I need a little bit of Sazedium to level me out. much better than being basic. Okay, well, that was our emails. So thank you, everyone who sent an email. If you would like to send us an email, the address is thesanderlanche with an E at the end at gmail.com. You can also find us on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and all those sorts of places. Remember, for next time, we are reading parts 3 and 4 of Mistborn, Secret History. So come back ready to, I guess, for us to discuss those. I was going to say come back ready to discuss those. I'm like, the audience doesn't really get to discuss with us. I'm sorry. Except through emails, obviously. So, well, and me on Discord. If you want to hear crazy crap I have to say, you can always join our Discord. The link is in various places, but if you can't find it easily, just shoot us an email and I will send it to you. Music by Miracle of Sound. And Wasing to the Time of Next. Everyone.
And when everything is upside down, when you're yelling but you make no sound.